He had that reductionism. He could do that, and I sort of liked that. And I think I must have picked some of that up from him. He had a way of looking at something and really presenting it to you in bare bones. And of course, he went into a different field, but I was able to use it in my field. You know, it's just a way of not BSing yourself, looking at the thing and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, what is this really? Oh, yeah, here's what they're doing, you know?"
When did stand-up become so likable-oriented, too? It's really, annoying how they're focusing so much on people being likable and people being, sweet and kind of cuddly for an audience.
In what respect? Where?
Well, just like on television, it seems like they just want to take, the balls out of anything.
Oh, yeah.
Especially stand-up performance-wise.
Well, I think everybody's running really scared, and I think any voice that sounds a little scary to them is going to be neutralized or compromised, or you know, it's just it's a stupid. If you're talking about commercial television, forget it. Commercial anything. I mean, that's all it's about is selling goods. All that other stuff, nothing. The stuff in between doesn't mean anything. It's just a delivery system for sales. And you're not going to get anything worthwhile in between the selling.
You've been linked to the FCC now. I mean, forever. You will be forever linked with the 7 dirty words, and
which is now 700.
But
it's
gone. Yeah. It's gone so far beyond that now, because now we don't only have to adhere to FCC regulations. Yeah. We have to adhere to nice regulations. Yeah. We have to. It's political correct. Little interest groups that'll, like Reverend Al Sharpton and people that will just fire off some letterhead to your boss, and they will then give you another list of words that you can no longer use on the air. This disgusts me.
Sure.
It completely takes your balls away. You can't do the show you want to do.
No, once advertising is involved, once the cash register comes into play, everything else is subordinated to that, and has to be. Unfortunately, that's just what they do.
But I just think it doesn't. It would never pan out to where the advertiser really would have to worry. Like you say something on the air. A group comes up and says, all right, we're going to boycott. Yeah. I would love for someone to go ahead. Yeah. Let me see if this affects, Coca-Cola's bottom line at the end of the year.
Let's see how far see how far this really would go.
But they
obviously
get scared.
We're talking about the Imus situation, obviously.
Yeah, you get
when you do a radio show, you follow the FCC guidelines. You have to, or you're going to get fired and get the company fined. But now, like Ant said, it's not about that anymore. You have to now be nice on the radio. You can't offend. You can't offend a Rutgers basketball player, women's basketball player.
People think they have a right to not have their feelings hurt.
I know.
They actually think that's a given right that the forefathers wrote in that said your feelings, they can't be hurt.
Right.
And that is, you could say whatever you want as far as hurting someone's feelings. They could come back at you and say something else, but
that's that left-wing paternalism. Big white.
Oh yeah,
big white daddy knows best.
Yep.
That came. Everyone. We all got to understand that we could expect censorship from the right wing. Over time, we know that's where it's going to come from. But to expect it from the left wing, from the politically correct people in the campuses, especially the Eastern Ivy League campuses, that caught me by surprise.
I mean, isn't that the guys, the people you grew up with that were going to, really change things and had this freer thinking, and then it just turns out to be a bunch of phonies, just like you said, paternalistic.
The conservatives have always hid behind family values and religion, and it seems like what the liberals hide behind is things like hate speech. Like that's how they get you to kind of not say what kind of smashes their ideology.
Yeah, it's this country went off the cliff, and it's just in free fall now. It's just we're waiting for the Big Bang to happen, and it's so wonderful what nature is doing to smack us back. This arrogant species who overbuilds, overreaches, overuses, wastes, just completely lays waste and despoils everything it touches. 3-wheel vehicles, all-terrain vehicles. We're going to go everywhere there's some sand. We're going to make a mark, and we're going to make an ugly mark, and then we're going to not worry about it, and we're going to come home and we're going to barbecue. You know, it's just a sick, it's disgust in my voice you're hearing. Good morning. Welcome to Disgust.
You had a great take on the beheadings. Everybody's like, oh, how horrible they are. And you said the beheadings, when you said, F them, stay out of another man's country, Jack. Yeah. I'm like, God damn it, that was a good point.
If you don't go to Iraq, you don't get beheaded. So now you know that. Put that on your list of stuff.
Stuff not to do.
Yeah.
What a great thing to say, though.
Again, boiling it right down to the simplest of things.
Simplifying it.
That's why when I hear you say something like the big invisible thing in the sky that people...
Well, we did a whole bid yesterday, the Harry Potter books being banned because there's wizardry and it's not good for the kids. And then Jimmy made a brilliant observation about, our own Jesus Christ there and the wizardry that was involved with that story. Yeah. That was quite similar to some of the stuff you're reading in these Harry Potter books.
Yes.
Like walking on water, changing water to wine, healing
Lazarus.
People. It's wizardry.
Lazarus.
Yeah.
You're not dead. I'm doing a bunch of stuff you're going to like in this next HBO show. The final part, the last 12, I don't know how long it is really, is a series of things on civic customs and civic beliefs and slogans and things that I question and that I never have believed in. But basically I'm talking about questioning them. I'm not trying to reject them outright. I'm holding them up for question. Proud to be an American. God bless America, swearing on the Bible, taking off your hat when the flag passes by. The last one is rights. The fact that you really don't have rights, they're imaginary. Rights are they're like the Three Little Pigs. They're like Pinocchio or the Boogeyman. We made them up. We made that up. We have 10 rights in the Bill of Rights in this country. Britain has 13. Why is God changing numbers on people? The Germans have 26. The Swedish have 29. Have 6. The Belgians have 29. Why would God give different people in different countries different numbers of different rights? So it's that reduction to the obvious, and it's a wonder. I just love when I get to that part of the show because I know I'm going to have a lot more fun even than what has come before, Well,
I walked in and I saw George in the green room, and my favorite thing he's ever done is You Are All Diseased. It's just to me, I can't stop watching it. And you close on a live HBO special, and you close on a bit how there's no God. And you say that at the end of the joke, like the bit's very funny, and at the very end, you're like, there is no God, never was, not one. And I'm like, what balls? Close a live HBO special saying that.
And I think I said, and if there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. And then I put it on myself, and I said, see? He's afraid. He don't want to kill me, or whatever it was.
It was such a great way.
It's a lot of fun to throw it down in front of them and then step across it,
Hey, George, can we continue with you, or you got a place to...
Please continue with me.
All right, good. We're going to take a break, but let's get some of this out in the open.
Safe.
50 years in the in show business, and you're just releasing George Carlin, All My Stuff?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about this week. This DVD set of all my HBO shows in one package.
How cool is that?
And
12 of them, by the way.
14 DVD box set includes the 12 HBO specials, George on George, which is a 2003 interview for the XM.
Yeah, the one he was talking about.
Oh, that's 2007 you did that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there were two different interviews.
George on George 2003 interview and his 2007 XM Unmasked special, which is where they went real deep with you for over an hour.
And the signings, let me plug the signings. George is signing today from noon to 2. It's only 2 hours at FYE. It's on 1290 6th Avenue. So get there before noon, obviously.
51st and 6th.
51st and 6th. And tomorrow, noon to 2 at Borders in Manhattan, which is Wall Street, 100 Broadway.
Wall Street, that'll be fun.
More with George Carlin. Quick break. It's Opie and Anthony. Hey, let's get right back to it. We got George Carlin in studio. We don't want to waste a minute with George.
Can I say one of my favorite things is that I was just thinking in the break, you've never become pompous as a comedian. Like I love so much the fact that your subject matter. I mean, it's by far away the most brilliant social commentary any comic's doing. But then there's also like silly things and fart jokes. It's never become too hip for the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever is funny to you.
Yeah, the room was never hip anyway. The room was always lame. I was always hipper than the room, even when I was a kid.
Yeah, George could go real deep and real silly. Like your whole thing on moving and stuff, and that whole. I love that.
There were 3 areas, actually 4 areas now that I kind of draw from. Language itself, just for its own sake, talking about words and phrases and stuff.
Words hurt, George. We had to read a pamphlet here to do our radio show, a whole pamphlet. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you just brought up some that I think you would appreciate. I think you would appreciate this. That's why I jumped in here.
Yeah.
We with the political correctness and stuff.
Yes.
They handed out this pamphlet about how words hurt.
Called Words Hurt, and we had to read different stereotypes and how they're used, and we shouldn't use them. And we're at a point now on regular radio where I can't go into Chinatown and speak to somebody and then convey the conversation here using the accent of the Asian gentleman, because an Asian group will write in and say I'm doing a stereotypical accent. No, I'm imitating the guy at the store I was at.
Yeah.
You can't say that. So I could go to any other store and go, I was talking to a salesman and he said, well, that shirt looks a little big on you.
That's right.
I could do that, but I can't talk about how the egg foo young isn't done yet.
Right. So this Words Hurt, it was the pamphlet. We read every word on the air.
Really, yeah.
And made a huge joke out of it, and then we get in trouble for making a joke out of it. We're like, you're going to drive us insane. We can't take this stuff seriously in what we're doing on our radio show.
Words have become so so empowered.
People have become very, very nervous.
Where are the 4 places you draw from, though?
English language, social commentary, kind of. I think that's the best word for some of that stuff, because it's not political, really. More like social. And silliness, and observations, like about stuff, things that universalities, things we all know, and therefore you have half the job is done with the audience because they already know the premise, and all you have to do is kind of like then take care of business.
I think I started throwing stuff away after listening to your stuff bit. Like, we just collect stuff that just means it's nonsense.
There's an interesting thing about something that someone gives you. It's very hard. Like a year after your aunt gave you a bad-looking clock or a dumb thing for a lamp, a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later, it's real easy to be in stores and say, get that out. That goes in the big pile over on the left. That's going to Salvation Army or Goodwill or whatever. But you know what's really hard to do? Throw it away the same day she gave it to you. And it's the same clock, and you feel the same way about it, but your conscience won't let you take it and put it in the dumpster when she leaves the house. It's very interesting.
Enough time has to pass, and then you feel, okay, I can throw this away now. You're so right.
That's really right.
Throw it out with the gift wrapping still on it.
That's right. Yeah, say, just say, why don't you meet me in the back? Meet me back by the garbage cans when you get to the house, because I wanted to make it easy for both of us.
I throw stuff away now, and people get outraged. Like, you just got that for your birthday. I'm like, they will never know that I just threw their stuff out. I'm not.
They're going through. Maybe that's where they're getting this stuff. Yeah, going through the dumpsters.
What is it about just the passage of time that makes certain things okay when immediately it's just not? I was brought up the Titanic. Being just a horrific thing. A ship sinks, kills thousands.
How they sing.
And then, you fast forward a few years, relatively speaking, a blink of an eye, and there's an inflatable ride at kids' parties that is shaped like the Titanic sinking into the lawn with a hose, and little kids slide down the deck, and it's like, now it's a ride.
And they give you some smokestacks, too, so the kids could bounce off the smokestacks on the way down.
And you're like, this was a horrible tragedy where people died in horrifically painful ways, but enough time goes by, and it's a kiddie ride now.
And they wonder why it's all ending.
Yeah.
What's wrong with our country?
That's why after 9/11, I brought up that same thing. I go, how much time has to pass before they have a ride based on that horrific disaster? And then people call up, hey, what do you say?
You're sick.
It's like, well, the Titanic. Come on, you don't think those people had family, friends, loved ones and now it's a kiddie ride? Enough time goes by, people just seem to want to forget it.
And it's all different people.
Yeah.